RV solar can be a game changer, but how much does it really cost? I built an entire system for my RV, and today I'm going to break down the components, the costs, some hidden costs, and give you more information about what it's like to build one of these systems. Now before we get started on this video, I want to give a huge shout out to Signature Solar, our channel sponsor. You guys have been amazing to work with. The equipment, the service, the people, you guys are awesome. We absolutely love working with you guys, and we're so thankful for the partnership. Now let's get this video started. What's up everyone? Welcome back to One Strange Adventure. Welcome to the next video. In today's video, we're talking about solar systems and how much do they really cost. Now you might be asking yourself, why should I add solar to my RV? Here's a couple reasons that we did. One, we just wanted to be able to go out and be able to hang out in the desert if we wanted to. Like, we don't want to have to be tied to the grid all the time. Number two would be when we have an extended long trip, we like to boondock for one night. And it's nice to not have to worry about running the generator. So we're able to go to a place, park for a night, and then head on the next day. Now there's obviously some benefits to having a solar system in your RV. One is the off-grid camping, not having to run your generator. Another one would be long-term cost savings. You're not adding fuel, you're not adding the maintenance costs to that generator all the time. All right, now that we talked about the benefits of having a solar system in our RV, let's start breaking down some of the major components. Let's talk about how much they cost. We've got 4 EG4 12 volts, 400 amp hours each. We have 2 Lynx distributors. We have a smart shunt. We have 2 multi-plus 2s. We have 2 solar chargers. The MPPTs 150, 100s. 1200 watts each is going to be going to those bad boys. The first one is going to be the Victron Multi-Plus 2. We had 2 of these inverters. They're rated at 3000 watts each. What does an inverter do? It simply takes DC power and converts that to AC power. So you're able to run your appliances and things like that off of your batteries. Now, why did we go with Victron components? Well, they're recognized across the industry as being highly reliable, and they're pretty easy to use. So we went ahead and went with the Victron just because of that reliability and the ease of use. Now you might be asking yourself, why did we go with 2 inverters? Well, the reason we went with 2 inverters is because we wanted to be able to have 3000 watts or up to 3000 watts per line. And we wanted to be able to run it in a split phase, since 50 amp is a split phase coming in. So there's line 1 and line 2. And we wanted to have, or line 1 powered by one inverter and line 2 powered by the other inverter. So that's why we went with a 2 inverter setup. Another thing that Victron does really well is the hybrid power assist. That means if we ever go on a 30 amp pedestal, then we can actually use our batteries to make up the difference. So it's like we still have 50 amp. So we'll be using some of the shore power and then using the batteries to make up the rest, which is pretty cool. Now the costs. The 2 inverters cost about $2,200 together. So you have to buy them separately. They don't come as a package, but it is about $1,100 per inverter. This is the 12 volt 3K. The next major component we're going to talk about is our charge controllers. Now, we have 2 of those because we wanted to go a little bit higher with our solar panels. We have 2400 watts. So we ran 1200 watts to each of the charge controllers in series. So the voltage goes up, the amperage stays low. Both of these charge controllers were 150 100s, and that means that they are able to take in 150 volts, up to 150 volts from the panels and produce 100 amps of charge back to the batteries, which is a lot. Again, we went with the Victron equipment here just because they actually keep the batteries from overcharging, which is really nice. It'll cut off once it kind of tops off the batteries. And then if it senses that it needs the solar again, it'll cut them back on and actually pull the solar in and start charging the batteries up again. So that's really nice. Again, it's Victron. It has Bluetooth capability and it connects to the app. Makes it very easy to kind of monitor what's going in and coming out of our battery system. Now these solar chargers cost about $1,050. Now they cost a little bit more because they are larger and able to handle more wattage. Now let's talk about the batteries. The batteries are EG4 batteries. They're 12 volt. We have 4 of them. Each of them is rated at 400 amp hours, meaning we have a battery bank of 1600 amp hours. Today is the day that we get to finish the battery system. I have the walls down already. You see there's only 2. I ran out of terminal lugs. And when you're in the desert, it takes forever to get another set. So I've been running on 2. I've got the other 2 in the front bay, and I'm getting ready to switch these over to there and then wire it all in so that I have 4 batteries, and that's 1600 amp hours. So we'll be doing that today. Inverters, everything is running good. Right now it's actually inverting because I cut the power to the rig. So we're just running on those 2 batteries right now. Getting ready to run on 4. We're gonna charge those up. We'll charge those up, get them topped off, and then be on our way. It's a lot of juice and it will keep us going for a while. We can actually, with the solar that we have and the batteries, we can run an AC going down the road pretty much indefinitely as long as we're getting full sunlight, which has been really nice. These batteries have been so amazing. Highly recommend them. Another reason we went with the server rack batteries is actually because they have to be up to code for commercial and residential use. That means they actually have fire suppression built into them. A lot of other batteries on the market don't have that. So if something was to happen internally in that battery, it will basically pop a tube and take itself out before it catches fire, which gives me a little bit more peace of mind. Now there's been a couple times when we stored the RV and it's just sitting in the middle of the field and we don't even come close to using the battery. We might go down to 94%, solar tops it back off, it goes back down to 94 overnight, solar tops it off, never runs out, which has been really nice. Now for 4 of these batteries, you're looking at about $5,200. Sounds expensive, but when you actually start comparing them to other brands, you're going to find that this is a really good value. You get more amp hours for the cost, and they're lighter for the amount of amp hours that you're getting, which is a win-win for the RV life. Now there's a couple other pieces of Victron equipment that I want to talk about. One is the Lynx distributor. It's a really, really nice bus bar and it's able to hold all your fuses as well. It makes it so much easier to connect everything and just tie it all together. I highly recommend using that, and it's another Victron component, so you know it's going to work well with the rest of the components. Now the Lynx distributor runs just over $400, but when I shop around and I look at other bus bars, it's pretty comparable for what you're getting. Now the shunt is actually going to connect directly to your Lynx distributor, and it's going to monitor everything that's going in and out of your batteries. So it's going to tell you that's the communication channel back to the servo, what we're going to talk about next. That's a communication channel back to that so that it can tell how much voltage or how many amps are running in and out of your battery bank. That's pretty nice. It's made it way, way better to have. Now, if you're going to go with Victron, I highly recommend going with the servo and the servo touchscreen. It is the communication hub. So your batteries, your Lynx shunt, your chargers, your solar chargers, your inverters, everything is going to plug right into that and give you that nice, pretty display to let you know what's going into your batteries, what's coming out of your batteries, what's coming from the grid, what's going to the appliances. Just gives you a great view of the overall system as it's working. Now once you add the servo and the touchscreen, you're looking at about $600 for that. Another major component we need to talk about are the solar panels. Now the solar panels that we have are Grape Solar 200 watt panels. We went with 200 watts because we've read some reviews that the lower wattage actually is a little bit more efficient than going with like 300 or 400 watt panels. Now we have 12 of them on the roof, so that's a total of 2,400 watts. Cost-wise, you're looking at about $1 a watt in most cases. It can be a little bit lower, it can be a little bit higher, but in most cases what I've seen is that it averages out to about $1 a watt. So we have 12 of them up there, totaling 2,400 watts running into our solar chargers. All right, so the next thing we're going to break down is some of the miscellaneous stuff, and this is where the expenses can climb really quick. So you talk about adding copper. If you're going with that much battery, you're going to probably use a 4-aught welder's cable. It's going to be pretty expensive. You're going to look at, you need junction boxes, you need switches, you need fuses. There's just a lot that goes into actually connecting all of these components together. And then If you want to make it look good, you're going to pay even more because you're going to want like a racetrack system, or you're going to need something to be able to cover the wires up and protect it as you're going down the road. Miscellaneous parts cost me about $1,000 for this RV solar build. All right, now let's talk about the total cost breakdown, and I got my phone here to help me. Total cost breakdown for major components was $9,367. Somewhere right around that $9,400 mark is what we paid for all of our components. So if you want a solar system that is as large as what we have and gives you the flexibility and the freedom to go and live off grid for a while, you're going to spend about $9,500 in components, in the major components. Now the miscellaneous parts, I said, cost you about $1,000. It could go as high as $1,400–1,500. So you just got to kind of shop around and figure out what's going to work best for you. I like to order more than I need just because I have it there. I don't want to have to stop if I'm missing something, and then I will just do the returns afterwards to make sure that I can get the job done when I want to do the job. So altogether, major components, everything like that, you're looking at somewhere between $10,500 and $11,000. Now let's talk about some of the pros and cons of actually having an RV solar system. Pros: obviously you're energy independent for the most part. You still go to the grid, you can charge up your batteries, things like that at a campsite. It gives you flexibility to travel longer just because you're not worried about your RV going down the road, especially if you need to stay at night to get even further the next day. That's always helpful. And for us, it was just also like when we are at campsites that are older, that have 30 amp pedestals, or even when we go back home to visit our family, we can just plug it right into the side of a house and not have to worry about it, because we can turn the inverters down to like 15 amps, and then the batteries will just make up whatever it doesn't get from the outlet. So that's really nice. Some of the cons, obviously, it's a high upfront cost, $10,000–$15,000 invested in parts, and that's not including installation. And installation can be very complex, and I would only recommend it if you're an experienced electrician, you've done a lot of research. This isn't the system for most DIYers, but it can be done. I'm proof of that. Just make sure you consult with many professionals if you attempt to do this, like I did. I would not do this without consulting with people that actually know what they're doing on these types of solar systems. Now for me, it was absolutely worth it to spend that much on the solar system and make sure that we have what we want and we're able to just kind of do what we want while we're living this RV life. If you're thinking about adding solar to your RV and you have some questions, drop the questions down in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Until the next strange adventure, keep making your own.